and when Stenwold listened, in that very instant there was no more murmur audible from the gates. And then it came, reaching them across the rooftops of Minor, the cry of 1,000 throats. The assault had begun. It was enough to shout down even Tizimon's wrath. Stenwold fumbled with the telescope, then stumbled to the window, nearly losing the instrument over the sill. When he had the glass back to his eye, his hands were shaking so much that he could not keep it steady. The lens's view danced across the gatehouse and the wall, then finally settled. He saw the black and red armour of the army of Minor, men aiming crossbows or winching artillery around. He saw ballista and grape-shot throwers wheel crazily through the arc of the telescope's eye, discharging their burdens. There was black and gold now amongst the black and red. The first wave of the Wasp divisions came upon them in a glittering mob, troops in light armour bearing the Empire's colours skimming over the tops of the walls, the air about their shoulders a shimmer with the dancing of nebulous wings. For a second, Stenwold saw them as the insects they aped, but in reality they were armoured men, aloft in the air, with wings flickering from their backs and blades in their hands. They swooped on the earthbound defenders with lances and swords, loosing arrows and crossbow bolts and hurling spears. As the defenders turned their crossbows upwards towards them, Stenwold saw the bright crackle, as golden fire flashed from the palms of the attackers' hands. The killing art of the Wasp-Kindon. "Any moment now," Stenwold whispered, as though the enemy, hundreds of yards away, might overhear him. From along the wall he heard a steady thump, 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 as Minor's huge rock launchers hurled missile after missile into the ground troops advancing beyond the wall. "They're at the gate." Marius was still staring into space, but Stenwold knew that one of his men was positioned on a rooftop closer to the action, watching on his behalf. "Then it must be now," Stenwold said. "Now." He tried to focus the jittery telescope on the gates, saw them flex inwards momentarily, and heard the boom of the battering ram. "Now," he said again uselessly, for still nothing happened. All that time he had spent with the artificers of Minor, charging the earth in front of the gates with powder. And nothing. "Perhaps they got it wrong," Marius suggested. Again the ram boomed against the metal-shod gates, and they groaned like a creature in pain before it. "I was practically looking over their shoulders," Stenwold said. "It was ready to go. How could they have... Someone must have..." "We are betrayed," said Tizimon softly. "By Atrissa, clearly. Who else knew the plan? Or do you think the people of Minor have sold their own to the slavers' block?" "You don't know." But Stenwold felt conviction draining from him. Atrissa, so expected but so absent, and now this. "Spider-kind," Tizimon spat, and then repeated, "Spider-kind," with even keener loathing. On the walls, the vanguard of the Wasp army was already engaged in 100 little skirmishes against the shields of the defenders. Tizimon bared his teeth in utter fury. I knew you could never trust the Spider-Kindon. Why did we ever let her in? Why did we trust her?" He was white-knuckled, shaking, eyes staring like a madman's. The spines flexed alarmingly in his forearms, seeking blood. Stenwold stared into his face, but barely heard the words. Instead, he heard what Tizimon had left unsaid, and knew not fear, but a terrible pity. Spider-Kindon, as Tizimon said. Spider-Kindon, as subtle and devious as all that implied, and still Tizimon, with 1,000 years of race hatred between them, had let her into his life and opened the gates of his soul to her. It was not just that Atrissa...